welcome back to another video. So today I have here the 50 Macaron colors. These are the Brutfuner set, and I ordered these from AliExpress. I have seen so many people share these in my Facebook group. And I look at them and oh my goodness, they're so beautiful. Of course, I'm going to show you after I unbox these and we're going to take a look at them. But these are the most beautiful pencils and I wanted them so badly. But there's been plenty of things that I've wanted to order from AliExpress, and I'm one of those people that is a little bit cautious, and I was a little bit nervous to order anything from AliExpress. But I asked around and I got the name of the specific store that was trustworthy, that I knew that I could order from, that I wouldn't have any issues. So I went ahead and I ordered them, and they got here in I think maybe 3 weeks, maybe almost 4 weeks. So I'm so excited now that I have them, and I've had them sitting over there in a corner like I always do, waiting to unbox them with all of you so that I could share my excitement about these. And I also love to show y'all how they come and how they're packaged when they come to you in the mail. These were inside another envelope and they were tightened up pretty good with a lot of tape, so they were packaged pretty well. And then of course they've got this thick bubble wrap all around them. We are going to go ahead and get these unboxed and take a look at them. If you check the description down below, you will find links down there to my Facebook group, my Etsy store, my email list, and my Patreon if you would like to support me there. Let's go ahead and open these. They have this bubble wrap wrapped on here. Really, really good and nice and tightly. I just love this bubble wrap. I love sitting here and popping them. It is just such a stress reliever for me. But I've been doing that since I was a kid. And my kids love doing that too. Oh, look, my box is just a little bit damaged here in the corner. Hopefully that doesn't affect the actual pencils. Okay, so we have this little card here and it just says, "Dear valued customers, thanks for your kind order to Style Group, Style Stationery and Macro Global Flagship Store, both under Style Group, which is focused on creative stationery products with premium quality and unique design. We are sorry to have kept you waiting for so long to receive your product. Please don't worry. If you find the product broken or the quantity is wrong, please contact immediately and we will help you solve the problem until you are satisfied." And then they just show here that they've got 5 stars on their item description, 5 stars on dispatch time, and then seller communication. I guess that's how AliExpress rates the different companies. But this is the company that I ordered from, and I will have the link down in the description box below. Now remember, you're not going to get these right away, and I think that's really cool that they put this paragraph here letting you know that you do have to wait for your product because they're coming from China. But they have all the information of the seller right here in this little box, their email address and their WhatsApp app information, I guess. Okay, so they just come in a box. So yeah, you're gonna have to, oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. You will have to purchase a case for these, but there's only 50 of them. I think the cases that I love, the BTSKY cases, they have a case for 72. And I always like to have extra space in my cases, so that's probably the one that I'll order for these. But look at these gorgeous pastel colors. So you get 25 here on one tray, and then you get 25 here on the other tray. Let me lay them like this just so you could, that sound it makes as it goes across the mat here. It's kind of like the fingernails on the chalkboard. But look at the colors. They're just beautiful. So I'm going to hold these up closer to the camera so you could take an actual look at the colors. But it looks like we get some pretty bright neon colors in here as well. Oh my gosh, they're so pretty. And then here on this tray, wow, actually, yeah, these colors on this tray here are much brighter. And then this tray here, these colors are much more muted. That is so super cool. Now I am planning on putting these in color family order. Let me hold these up closer so y'all could see. I'm planning on trying to put them in color family order, and when I do that, I am probably going to put all of the yellows together and then organize those yellows by their undertones. So these more muted colors will not be separated from the brighter colors. It'll be like the bright yellows and then the more muted tones of yellows and then the oranges, and that's how I'll go through and arrange them. After we take a look at these pencils, I'm going to try to take a break from filming and create an actual swatch chart so that I could put these in color family order. Maybe I'll just do that all in one video review because I want to be able to play with these a little bit to see how they perform. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the pencils. Let me grab a color here that y'all could see. We have the Brutfuner name on the very end, and then we have the beautiful gold ring around the tip. And I love that we have colored barrels. I love pencils that have colored barrels. I don't so much care for the ones as much that have like a black or a gray, you know, from here all the way down to here, and then they have the color dipped tips. I really prefer pencils that have the color across the entire barrel. But it says Brutfuner Colored Pencil here. And goodness, do they have a name? Oh, there we go. Okay, so we've got apricot written there, but it's written in gold, so it's a little bit hard to see off that color. And then they have a color number written right up here on the very tip. Let me go ahead and grab a color that is a little bit darker that you could see the gold on a little bit better. I find that the gold is a little bit hard to see, but boy, does it make the pencil look so classy. Here's one that you may be able to see a little bit better because it's sitting on a darker color, and I think they're all going to be pretty much the same. This one is called Smalt Blue. I also love how they have the two little stars around the name just to sort of emphasize it. And then again, we have the number of the pencil. And I love when pencils also have a name and a number. And then this is what the tips look like when you receive them. So I grabbed my Polychromos because I wanted to show y'all how similar these look. And I think the Polychromos are a gorgeous pencil with the barrel being full color. And then we have the gold writing and then the gold ring up here on the top. So this one is the Polychromos and this one is the Brutfuner. And you really can't, unless you were looking really, really close, it's very hard to tell the difference. Of course, if you flip it over on this side, the Polychromos, the newer sets, now have this UPC. I have an entire set that doesn't have that UPC code on there. They just recently started doing that, I think just for purposes of open stock pencils. But if you look at these, they just look very, very similar. If I turned it to the side right here where I've got the color name, you can see that the gold little ring here is closer to the tip where this one is moved further down, and then we have the number on the Brutfuner more on the tip above the ring, and then on the Polychromos we've got the name and then the number, and then I believe this is the light fast rating, but they both still have stars on them, which I think is really neat. But of course the stars mean something completely different, but I just think the stars give it that little added, I don't know, look of class. I love how they put the stars around the name on these Brutfuners. I think it really just makes it stand out. And then if we turn it around to the other side, the Polychromos has the company name here. The Brutfuner has the company name much, much bigger. These say made in Germany. And I don't know, they just look very, very similar. Of course, the writing is different on both of them, but they look very similar. But I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience when I was purchasing these. I knew that one of my moderators in my Facebook group had purchased these, so I asked her and she gave me the name of the store. I think two of my moderators, Kathy and Susanna, both gave me the name of the store. And so when I went on the app and pulled up AliExpress, I used their link that they gave me. I added them to my cart and I was still a little bit nervous, so I decided that, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. I really don't need any more pencils. You know, I think we all do that. So what happened is I paused and I added it to my cart and I said, oh no, I'm not going to do this. Well, because I didn't check out, when I went backwards back to the store and started browsing again, it popped up and offered me a $2 coupon. So whereas some others had paid $16 for these pencils, I ended up paying in total, I think like $14.39. for all 50 of these. That is a fantastic price for 50 pastel pencils. And I'm really excited about that. And then when I got to checkout and I went to go check out, I realized they take Apple Pay. So I knew that I had that little bit of security there. So if you're one of those people that's a little bit nervous and you've wanted stuff from AliExpress, I can assure you that this store is dependable. And I received my things in a reasonable amount of time, and I did have tracking information. And so I followed the tracking information, but when I received the last few emails, when they had arrived, I received an email saying that I needed to go pick them up. And then I received another email saying that they were out for delivery. So I didn't know if they were going to come to my front door, or I had to figure out which post office they had dumped these off at. So I was a little worried, and then I waited till the next day and they got delivered to my front door. But there wasn't any tracking information beyond that. I was just excited to receive them at my front door because I didn't want to have to go hunting around to figure out where my package had been left. If you've watched these videos before, you know that the next thing is to test them out on the pencil sharpener. And very recently, I now have 2 pencil sharpeners to test these out on because I now have this Jarlink for an electric pencil sharpener option. And then I have my Dahle 133 as my manual pencil sharpener option. And I'm so excited now that I have an electric pencil sharpener because that not only makes it much easier for me when I have to sharpen a whole new set of pencils, it also makes it much easier now that I have found one that I love to be able to recommend a pencil sharpener to y'all when you come in my Facebook group and you mention that you've got arthritis or problems with your hands and you can't use a manual sharpener. This is the electric pencil sharpener option that I would always recommend. But always leave this one on 3 when you're using it. And I do have a review on this pencil sharpener, and I'll link that in the upper right hand corner. But we're going to go ahead and test these out in both of these pencil sharpeners. I'm going to start with the Dahle. The Dahle makes it much easier for me to determine how soft or hard the wood is on the pencil. Okay, so it's pretty easy to turn. The wood doesn't feel too soft, but it's sort of somewhere in the middle. Definitely not as hard as something like a Crayola pencil where I could hardly spin this. And definitely not as soft as the wood on something like an artist grade pencil like the Polychromos or the Prismacolors. And then you can see that it stopped when it was done. And I'm going to pull it out, and this is the beautiful sharp lead we now have on our Brutfuner Macaron pencil. Now let's go ahead and test them in the Jarlink. And I like to test on the Jarlink because this pencil sharpener will take anything from 6mm to 12mm. So even your pencils that are much bigger, you can put them in here and sharpen them. It takes hexagonal pencils, it takes squared pencils, round pencils, and then all those different sizes. So let's just go ahead and grab this other purple one, and we're going to stick it in here. So it went in very easily, and we're just going to push it down. And see, I left it on 3 to sharpen the pencil, and it stopped exactly where I like it. So that is the lead on this one. And then this is the lead on this one, and I'm going to put them right here. And I'm going to make these very even so you can see the difference. So they look right about the same. So those of you that have been fearful of an electric pencil sharpener like I was for so long, you could see that they're not going to be gnawing away at your pencil and gnawing away at your pencil. It gives you the same results as the Dahle 133 does. So I really love this pencil sharpener. And I will have links for both of these pencil sharpeners in the description box below, because this Jarlink one, I have had many people wondering exactly which Jarlink this one is, because the company sells several different ones. In my video review, I reviewed 2 of them. I much prefer this one. The other one is much more portable. I don't have it sitting here, so I can't show you, but I very much prefer this one, and this is the best one that Jarlink carries. Okay, so I'm going to go through and sharpen all of these gorgeous pencils, and we are going to move on to swatching them and doing a blend test. And I'm going to try to put them in some kind of color family order, and I'll be back to film the second half of the video when I'm all done doing that. Okay, y'all, so I have been away for a long time since the last time I filmed. I have spent most of the day, and I don't know what got into me, I just decided I was going to put all of these into color family order. And so I want to show you my process when I'm doing this, just so you could see. It's crazy, but I swatch out all of the colors. This is how I start, just to sort of see where they go and where I'm going to fit them in on my color chart. Then I form the color chart and I just start laying the colors out where I think they would go best after I had swatched them out on this sheet here. And of course, this is nowhere near my final, because you can see I've got all my lines saying this needs to go here, this needs to go here, listing my orders that I want them over here, fitting in another color here. This was my first go. This was my next go after I created the entire swatch chart and put all the colors and all of the numbers in, and I wanted to swatch them out just to make sure that they fit in and that when I look at them visually, they are going to make some sort of sense. You can see that even after I laid them all out, I took this one, moved it up here, took all these colors, stuck them after that, took all my teals, moved them over here so that we could go from the teals that have more blue in them to the blue-green colors and have a little bit of a better flow as we move into the greens. Then I even took some other ones and moved them around here. I pretty much listed them all in the order that I wanted them to be over here, and then I had to go and switch around my whole entire swatch chart again in the new order that I created. So then I printed them out again, and now I'm just checking to make sure all the names are right and the names are corresponding with the correct numbers and all of that. And then I even decided again that I was going to move something else. So I made a note of that and I went and did that. And then I printed it out again, and this was the final time that I started going through all of the pencils, and I checked this up against the pencils to make sure that all the names were exactly right and all of the numbers were exactly right and everything matched up the way that it should. And then I noticed that I had olive yellow for this pencil, and it's actually O'Lear. I'm not even sure that I'm saying that right, but O'Lear yellow is what the actual name was of that pencil. And so I think I finally now have my order down pat, and I think that I'm ready to swatch all of these out. I think I'm pretty happy with the way that they are exactly like they are in this final shot. So we are going to use this sheet here, which is my final sheet. Of course, this is a Spring Hill paper, and we are going to swatch all of these beautiful pencils out on this swatch chart. Before I swatch them all out on the swatch chart, I'm going to show you how they look now that I have put them in my color family order. And this is a case that is probably too big, but I had it laying around, and the box that they come in is really not that great, so I'm probably not even going to keep it. So they are going to need a case. But I also want to show you something I realized when I was playing with these pencils and going through them and swatching them and re-swatching them and all of that. But I know earlier I was comparing these to the Polychromos pencils, and as I was going through these and I had mentioned that I didn't think it had anything to do with the light fast rating, I noticed that every single one of these pencils has either 2 stars, like I'll show you this one here. This one has 2 stars on both sides of the name. Hopefully you could see that. And I don't know if it has anything to do with the light fast rating of the pencils. Now again, these are a very budget friendly pencil, so even if they did claim to be light fast, which I couldn't find it anywhere on the box, but I'm not sure what else those stars would mean. This one has 3 stars. I mean, it may just be a decoration, I don't know, but it's just something to think about and something I wanted to share with you, because there was another one over here that I saw that had just 1 star, this Cosmos color here. This one has 1 star on each side. So I don't know, I just thought that was something to take note of and something that I wanted to share with you. And then I know I was gonna share with you if I had any damaged pencils at all or anything like that. The only thing that I have found is that a few of the names, for instance, this one here, I don't know if you could see that, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to say ice green. The eye looks very much like an L, but I don't think that LCE really spells anything. So I put it down as ice green. I'm pretty sure that's what it's supposed to be. So that's what it is on the swatch chart, and I don't know, ice green would make the most sense to me. So I think that's right. This pencil here, this Forget Me Not Blue, which is a really cool name by the way, this one is a little bit damaged and it looks like it got just a little bit, I don't know, smushed here, I guess. It has like some dents in the barrel right here and right here. But that is the only pencil that I found that had any kind of damage to it at all. So I'm very happy with these. So let me just go ahead and flip through here just so you could see what the colors look like after they're in color family order. So I started with this ivory here, which is a very pale yellow. And then I have a mustard yellow here, and then after the mustard yellow, we sort of move into the peachy colors, and then what would be the very pale oranges. Of course, these are all very pastel colors. And then we've got our pinks. We've got quite a few pinks, purples, and we've got this gorgeous color here. This is called Ash Rose, and this is really, really pretty, but you'll see that when I swatch it out. And then purples, and then I go from over here up into here, and we continue with the purples into the blues. Look at all the gorgeous blues we have, into some teals, and then we go into the greens, and then we've got our more olivier greens down here, a couple more olive greens here, and then we have a couple tan, or this one's called beige, so beige tan type colors, and then we've got a warm gray and a cool gray. And they just look really, really pretty, and they look so much more satisfying to the eye when you look at them in this order. I don't know, if you're anything like me, I cannot stand looking at pencils that are out of color family order. They need to be in order for me, and after working with these pencils and swatching them, they are amazing. I'll talk more about that at the end of the video and share all my thoughts with you. But we're going to go ahead and swatch these now. But I'm definitely going to be using this, so I wanted them to be in color family order. We're going to go ahead and get to swatching these, but this is available in my Etsy store. And after I get done swatching all of the colors, I am also going to take a picture of this. Just as I've done with some of my previous swatch charts, I take a picture as clear as I possibly can, and I post that into my Etsy shop as well. So both of those charts will be available for you to download in my color family order if you would like to, and I'll have the links down in the description box below for that. So I'm going to go ahead and start swatching these, and I am going to speed it up to music while I do that because it will be much easier for me to edit that way. And after I am done swatching out all the colors, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a little bit of a review of the colors and share my thoughts and all of that. So let's go ahead and start swatching these. Here's all the colors all laid out in color family order. Oh, I just love this. Look at all these gorgeous colors. So let's just do a review of the colors now that we see them all laid out and how beautiful they look. So we're going to start here with this beautiful ivory color. And this is just a very pale, muted yellow. And then we come over here and have cream, or what they're calling cream. To me, that's definitely not a cream. This is more of a cream. But this looks like it has quite a bit of orange in it, as well as yellow. And then we have this Naples yellow, which is the same idea, just a little bit brighter. It has more orange in it. So then we have this color here called Flesh, and this has yellow in it, but a little bit of orange as well. And then we have a Real True Mustard color. This is a beautiful color. And if you were trying to put together a 3-blend color combination, this could very well be used for your darkest color if you were trying to put some of these pastels together. And I really like that about this set, because if you look at it as a whole, we do have some colors like this mustard here, and this rose gray, and this smalt blue, and a couple others that are rather dark. So if you were trying to put together color combinations, you can very well do so. And I'm going to show you that when we get to the last part of the video where we do our blend test. Okay, so then we have here this color called, I'm not sure how to say this, Wan Brilliant. Then we move on to a True Peach. Then we have a beautiful, bright, vibrant orange. This is Apricot, and then a gorgeous salmon pink. I wonder how this salmon pink compares to our Prismacolor salmon pink. It looks very, very close. Then we have a shell pink here. That's a beautiful, muted, very light, pale pink. That's a gorgeous color. And then we have this one that is just a little bit darker, and it has more pink in it. It looks like this one has more, like a little bit of orange in it, or like a peachier tone, so it's kind of like a peachy pink. And then this one is more of a true pink. It's called Cherry Blossom. Then we have a color here called Coral, and it really does look like a true coral. It's beautiful. They're calling this one pink, but this has an awful lot of peachier tones in it as well. And it follows right along with this coral one as far as the undertone, I think. But that's a really pretty color. And then we have some more true pinks here. So we got a rose pink and this Cosmos, which is a bit darker. Then we have fuchsia and this mauve color. So we're starting to get into the colors that have a little bit of purple in them as well. So we've got this mauve that's like a pinky purple, and this rose gray that is a pinky purple but leans more towards the purple side. Then we have this gorgeous ash rose here. This was a very different color, and I really wasn't sure where to stick it on the color chart because there is nothing else on here that is similar to this. It still has a lot of pink in it, so I thought it went well right there, because here when we go jump to Sea Fog, this one is like a grayish purple. And then we have a gorgeous lilac. And if you saw at the beginning of the video, we have a lot of tones that are a lot more muted, and then we have some that are much more bright and vibrant. Now that you could see them all come together as a whole, I think it looks really, really nice. So we've got Wisteria, so that's another purple, and then Smalt Blue. They're calling this blue, but it still has a lot of purple in it, but it sort of brings us into the blues. Here we have a color called Smoke Blue. This has a lot of gray in it. It's like a very gray blue. And then Forget Me Not Blue. I love that name. Lavender Blue. It's called lavender, but it doesn't seem to have any purple in it when I look at it. This color is a very muted dark blue. This is another color that would be great for if you were putting together a color combination and you wanted a color for your shadows. Sky Blue and Aqua. So we have a couple aqua tones, and then we're going to come into our colors that have more green into them as we come into the green. So we have this Horizon Blue, and then Sky Mist. This is a gorgeous color. This is another one that could be used as your darkest tone in your 3-blend color combinations. Celadon, which is a very muted medium green. And then Ice Green. This color is gorgeous. Here we have a Jade Green. This one seems to be a darker value of this green here. And then we come to this Cobalt Green. This is a beautiful, bright, vibrant green. Surf Green and Mint Green, these are much more muted. And then Misty Green, as we get into the greens that have more yellow into them. We have a Chartreuse Green. That's a beautiful color. This is really going to make whatever you're coloring just really pop. And then Lettuce Green and Leaf Green. This is a gorgeous olivey green with still some yellow in it. And then Opal Green. This one is O'Lear Green. And we have a couple more greens here that have a lot of brown in them. This one looks like it is kind of like a yellowish brownish green. That's really, really pretty. That's another one that could be used as your darkest color if you were putting together a 3-color combination, but that's willow green. Then we have sand, beige, and cork. These are all really pretty, and they're all very different from one another. I don't see any colors on this whole entire color swatch that are really, really close to one another, where I would have to call them out and be like, oh, well, you know, we should have filled this in with something else. But they all look very different from one another, because then down here, we also get a warm gray and a cool gray. So they gave us one of each. And if you're not familiar with grays, a warm gray is going to have more brown in it, and a cool gray is going to have more of a blue undertone. So we have one of each of those, and this warm gray would look much more beautiful if we blended it together with something like this ash rose, or even this sea fog. I have never ever before taken the time or spent the few hours it takes to put another pencil set in the review into color family order, and I don't know what got to me. I just felt like it had to be done, so that way I don't have to do a whole separate video, because I know a lot of you are going to ask. I've seen a lot of questions in my Facebook group, and that's why I went ahead and did it, because a lot of you are looking for these in color family order. Okay, so I pulled out my pastel tint swatch because I know a lot of you are going to ask me for a comparison of the colors. If you want to go ahead and pause the video right here so you could see the two right up against one another, you can do that now. If you want me to do a video where I compare the 48 set of pastel tints, these are Castle Arts, but if you want me to go and do a video where I compare these up against these, I would be glad to do so. Let me go ahead and move these up a little bit so that you can get both swatch charts on the screen. Go ahead and pause it and take a look at the different colors. And I'll just let them sit here for a minute too so that you can sort of compare. But if I do a video where I put both of these pencils up against one another and do a complete comparison, then I will do a whole section of the video where I compare the colors one-on-one to each of the swatches. But if I'm just looking at this and I'm looking at them one up against the other one, it looks like in this one I am going to get some colors that I would consider using as maybe a darker color in my 3-color combination. If I were putting together color combinations with this and not mixing it with another pencil set, I see more here than I do on this one here. But this one does have a couple darker shades in it, like this hydrangea and then this tickle pink. What a cute name. And I don't know, let me see what else. This one, this larkspur color, is a little bit darker, and then this sunflower possibly, and then this Inca gold. So here we get this Inca gold, and then on this one we get this mustard color, and they look almost identical. But I will do a full comparison of the swatch charts and a full blend test, putting them right up against one another, and I could do that in a next video. If you want to see that, let me know in the comments below. Now, I do have timestamps on this video, so I don't know how many of you have skipped here and skipped there. I always like to put timestamps on my colored pencil review so y'all can rewatch the sections you want to see or skip to the sections you would like to see more or first or whatever. So I just want to let you know again that this swatch chart will be available in my Etsy shop, and I will have this swatch chart as it is with nothing swatched at all. And then, like I've done in all my previous videos for my color family order, I will also have a copy of this exact swatch chart. I will make sure the lighting is really good. I will snap a picture of it, and I will put as good a copy as I possibly can, just like this, into my Etsy shop, so those of you that don't like to swatch out your pencils can at least still have a copy. And I've heard from several people that have purchased these in my store. It comes out really, really nice, and the colors come out really, really good as long as you have a decent printer. Okay, so before I start swatching these out, I do want to mention a few of the things that I experienced and my thoughts on these pencils before I even get to the blend test. And this is just for me swatching and re-swatching and how they went down on the Spring Hill paper. And I will say that these pencils went down beautifully. They are not a really hard pencil, but they're not a very soft pencil. If I had to compare them to another pencil, if you have the 120 Brutfuner squares, they do feel harder than those pencils. They're also, of course, harder than a Prismacolor. These are supposed to be, or they're advertised as an oily pencil. I'm assuming that they have more oil in them rather than wax. All pencils consist of wax and oil, dependent upon the percentage of oil versus wax they have in them. That's where we come up with this is an oil-based pencil or this is a wax-based pencil. But when I was laying them down, they feel very much like an oil-based pencil, and they do just layer very, very nicely. And we're going to test that out a little bit more when we do the blend test. But I didn't get any scratchiness at all with these pencils when I was swatching them at all ever. So like I said, they went down very, very nicely. And I'm wondering how they will play with my Prismacolors, and I might do that as well in this blend test, just to test them out and see how they work with the Prismacolors, because we have so many light colors here that if I'm using this, I'm probably going to want to mix them with my Prismacolors or even possibly my Polychromos so that I could create all that extra depth and dimension. So let's go ahead and pick out some colors. So I always like to do something that I know y'all are going to be able to see so that it is much more visible and you could really tell the difference, you know, when I'm doing the blend test and laying the colors down. So I'm thinking maybe rose gray, since this one is rather dark. So the rose gray, I really want to put it with this mauve, but I really want to also test out the transition and how we transition from one color to the other. And even though this one has the same undertone, I think that I'm going to move over here to the Cosmos. So I think I'm going to do mauve, Cosmos, no, not mauve, rose gray. I'm sorry. So rose gray. Actually, let's do rose gray, fuchsia, and rose pink. Okay, so first we have the rose gray. These go down on the paper so nice, y'all. They are super, super nice. And when I was doing the swatching, I didn't have any breakages at all. And I'm using very, very light pressure here. See that I'm starting at the transition and pulling the color down. Oh my goodness, these are super, super nice. Let's go ahead and come back with, this is our second layer. Then we're gonna come back with our fuchsia and start at that mid-tone and pull it down into that lightest color. And now I have the rose pink. Okay, so now we're going to come back and we are going to go the other direction. So we could start to fill some of that white of the paper. I think this is the third layer. Come back with the mid-tone. We're starting to fill quite a bit of the white of the paper. And then our lightest color. Now let's get a fourth layer down on here, going back the other direction. And y'all have to let me know in the comments what you think about the blendability of these. And this is why I like to do the blend test in all of my videos, because I like for y'all to see exactly how they blend together. And then that way you can make a determination on your own rather than me telling you, oh, you need to go buy these pencils right now. And I don't like to do that. I like to do all of these tests and really show you the pencils. And then that way you can decide on your own whether or not you need to add these to your collection. And what am I on? Layer 5 maybe? And usually with a budget pencil, I may get to like maybe 6, maybe 7 before the white of the paper starts to really disappear. And then sometimes I'll just purposely start to use more pressure. I'm gonna start to come in here and do harder pressure just because I want y'all to see that hopefully I won't end up with any broken leads. So like I said, they are a harder pencil, but as you're coming into your transition, if you are using more pressure, always start to lift up on your pencil as you come into that last color. So I think that was 6, it might have been 7. Y'all know I always lose count all the time. And I think a lot of the white of the paper is already gone. But look at that beautiful blend. And if I'm looking at this, I could see that my mid-tone and my highlight color, or what would be my highlight color, my lightest color. I could see that the transition was much better here between the midtone and the highlight rather than between my darkest color and the midtone. But that may be because here this color has a whole lot of purple in it and this one has much more pink in it. And so sometimes when you're doing that, you will end up with a harsher transition there, but they blend together beautifully. I mean, I really can't ask for more than that. I could come back with a blender and try to blend it together just a little bit better here. Let me go ahead and grab my, this is my Caran d'Ache full blender, and we're gonna go over this and see if we could just blend these colors together just a little bit better. And we can, look at that. Y'all, if you don't have one of these blenders, I don't even know if they're available anymore, but look at that color just move around. Oh my goodness. Hopefully y'all can see that on camera, but look how beautifully that color just moves around and they blend right together. But this is one of the best blenders out there that I have used. Look at how much better it blended that transition together there just by using that blender pencil. And don't ever be afraid when you are using a more budget-friendly set to bring in your more expensive sets and mix them together. Now we're going to go ahead and test this one more time because I want to put this together with my Prismacolors, and I think that I am going to use a Prismacolor for the mid-tone so that my Prismacolor is getting blended with my darkest color and my lightest color. So I'm just going to swap out the fuchsia, and I think that the hot pink in the Prismacolor set may be very similar to this. Yeah, this is the hot pink. They are very, very similar. I'll show you the tips of the pencils, but they are very similar, and we're going to go ahead and do this with the hot pink and see how the Prismacolors play with these Brutfuner Macaron pencils. So let's go ahead and come in here and lay this rose gray down again. And I do also want to say that I have only sharpened these one time, and I sharpened them to a pretty sharp lead, and I have swatched and swatched and re-swatched, and this is what the tip of my pencil looks like. So they are definitely a harder pencil, but they're not as hard as something like a Polychromos. And they go down on the paper beautifully. So this is my hot pink, my Prismacolor hot pink. And I could definitely tell the difference in the way they go down, going from one pencil to the other. But look how close those colors are. Okay, so this is our second layer. And now I have my Prismacolor. I'm gonna blend it in really good there and then come up a little bit as I come into my lightest color. Now we have to come back and go the other direction. I'm gonna pull it down into that transition line of the Prismacolor, and then I have my hot pink Prismacolor. So you could tell how much more of the color goes down on the paper when I lay the Prismacolor down as opposed to these. But as far as how much pigment they have in the pencils, I think that they're pretty comparable. It's just that the Prismacolor is a wax-based pencil and these have a lot more oil in them, so you have to lay them, and it takes a little bit more effort when you're using them, because you have to layer them rather than just laying them down and blending them together. Okay, so I'm going to start using a little bit harder pressure now. They are working beautifully with the Prismacolors. And I don't know, y'all, aside from the color, can you really tell much of a difference between this one and this one? I mean, the color is a little bit more vibrant, but that's just because the color is different. I'll go ahead and swatch out the two colors that we used for the mid-tone over here so you could really see the difference in the colors. So this is the fuchsia from the Brutfuner set, and then this is the hot pink from the Prismacolor set. And so you could really see the difference in the colors. This one is much brighter and more vibrant, but as far as how they blended together beautifully. And since I used the Caran d'Ache blender over here, let me go ahead and use it over here as well. And so you can see again how well they blend together. But look how it just moves that color around. And it does it on both the Prismacolor and the Brutfuner Macaron pencils. Wow, that is really, really nice. And so you can see that the Prismacolor and the Brutfuner Macaron, I mean, they blended together really just the same, whether I use the Prismacolor or the Brutfuner pencil. So it looks really good, and I think that they did really, really well. And again, there's no scratchiness in any of these pencils, and I love the way that they perform. Okay, so I think that sums up this review and all my first impressions. And I hope that you were able to make a decision as to whether or not you want to pick up these pencils for yourself. And if you already have these pencils, you'll have to let me know in the comments below how you like them. I really, really love them, and I'm really excited that I went ahead and made this purchase, because y'all know I already have so many pencils and my collection just keeps on building. And I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way, but it's like we have to have them all. And I am a sucker for pastel pencils, especially now after I have these sets. If you would like to see me do a complete and full comparison between the macarons and the Arts Pasteltints, please let me know in the comments below, because I would be glad to do that video. I actually really want to do that video. And if y'all have been trying to decide which ones you want to purchase, I think a video like that would really allow you to make a determination as to which ones you want to go with. If you have this set already and you wanted them in color family order, this will be available in my Etsy store. I'll have the link down below. And it, like I said, it will be available with just the names and numbers, and then it will be available just exactly like this as well. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Happy coloring. Bye.